Alright, so believe it or not, this video is actually going to be easier than the last, even though it's the next lesson. So we are just simply multiplying and writing in simplest form. So we're going to multiply this, write it in the simplest form. We are on page 264 of chapter 4. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to rewrite 10 in a fraction form. Okay, so that's going to be 10 divided by 1. So 10 divided by 1 times 4 over 5. And remember, you just multiply straight across. So 10 times 4 is 40. 1 times 5 is 5. And then reduce it by dividing by what's on top and bottom. So, what's in your, usually what's in your denominator, but hopefully they have something in common. So for example, 5 does go into 40 8 times. So if I divide by 5 on top and bottom, I get 8 over 1, or just 8. Okay, same thing here. 2 times 3/4. 2 over 1 times 3 over 4. Multiply straight across. That's going to equal 6 over 4. Now, a number that goes into both 4 and 6 is going to be 2. So to reduce this, I'm going to divide by 2 on top and bottom. That's going to be 3 over 2. Now, why am I reducing it? Because it says put it in the simplest form. So that's why I'm dividing by 2 and 2 and writing it in its simplest form. I have to simplify. Okay, this one. 3/8. Oops. 3/8 times 11 over 1 equals, multiply straight across, that's 33 over 8 times 1 is 8. That's the simplest form because there's not a number that divides 8 and 33. So that is the simplest form. 3 over 7 times 9 over 1. 3 times 9 is 27. 7 times 1 is 7. Again, that's the simplest form because there's not a number that divides 7 and 27. Okay, let's see what we got here. A cat spends 2/3 of its life asleep. If a cat lives to be 15 years old, how many years did it spend asleep? So if it spends 2/3 of its life sleeping, the question is, what is 2/3 of its life? Its life is 15 years old. So watch this. Let me rewrite it this way. It says it spends 2/3 of life. Okay. 2/3. Remember the word of means multiplication. So 2/3 times its life. Well, how long did it live? 15 years. So its life is 15 years old. So 2/3 of 15. Now remember, you can write that like this also, 15 over 1. 15 divided by 1, that's still 15. So multiply straight across. We're going to have 30 over 3 times 1 is 3. So 30 divided by 3 is going to be 10. Or I could write 10 over 1. However I want to do that. So it actually slept 10 years. That's a lot of sleep. Okay, let me do just a couple more. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this as 20 over 1. 20 times 3 is 60. 1 times 4 is 4. And 60 can be divided by 4 15 times. Okay, that's that. And let me do one more problem. All of these, every single one of these problems is going to be completed the exact same way. Let me go ahead and do this one right here. A male Cuban tree frog is about 2/5 the size of a female Cuban tree frog. The average size of the female Cuban tree frog is shown at the right. Okay, let's look at the right. So it's saying over here, 6 inches. So this is the average Cuban female frog. What is the size of the male Cuban tree frog? Okay, so a male Cuban tree frog is about 2/5 the size of the female. 2/5. So 2/5 of female. Remember, the word of means multiply. So we actually have 2/5 of, and now here's the female frog. 6 inches. 2/5 of 6. Now I'm going to write 6 as 6 over 1. So remember that 6 came from here. So 2/5 times 6 over 1. So 2 times 6 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. There's no number that divides 5 and 12. Khalas. I am done. Okay. So that's it for this video. If you have questions, hopefully they get answered in class.